Conservative MPs are stepping up the pressure on David Cameron to use this week's Queen's speech to change course. An alternative Queen's speech has been put together by a range of Tory MPs, calling for, among other things, making the Lib Dems more uncomfortable in the coalition, renegotiating our place in Europe, and putting together a faster deficit reduction plan.
But Mr Cameron's told the Daily Telegraph today that he won't be moving to the right or the left following last week's poor local election results. He's pledged to try to turn the economy around and bring unemployment down rather than listen to people with what he calls loud ideology.
David Davis is a former Shadow Home Secretary, one of the Tory MPs who have contributed to this alternative Queen's speech. Good morning.
Good morning.
No, it's very interesting to hear from you. I'm just wondering, a faster deficit reduction plan would mean more pain for people, and the gain will not be coming for a while yet. So that would surely be the road to electoral disaster.
Well, it's interesting. Back in 1981, we were unpopular, just as we proved in these recent elections. But the outcome of that, which was a very, very tough budget, was that we got the economic recovery, which actually delivered a landslide victory for Margaret Thatcher 3 years later.
But it's got to deliver within the Parliament. And
Absolutely. And one of the concerns has been, this is not a narrow view. You got it right across the board, from people like Gary Streeter, a very nice MP who's I think on the left of the party, Richard Ryder, who was Lord Ryder, who was John Major's chief whip, so hardly a right winger, saying we need more focus on conservative policies because that's what will actually deliver an outcome. If we don't get it done quickly enough, then you're right, it will not deliver before the next election, and that could have pretty serious consequences.
And there's not much time, really.
No, there's only 3 years. One of the concerns, that have been expressed, actually on the doorstep, let alone from other MPs, is we've got all the unpopularity and just 10% of the cuts, as it were.
So what should be cut more?
Well, you go to get people to go on Conservative Home and read the detail. I don't want to spend 5 minutes talking about it.
Give us a couple of top lines.
Well, the top line is the other side. If you actually read the thing, where the top line was we want cuts in taxes, which will actually deliver more growth, which will deliver more revenue. One of the weaknesses in the argument so far has been the assumption that cutting taxes actually causes problems. If we won't get the deficit reduction unless we actually get more growth, and we won't get more growth without tax cuts, and we won't get more tax cuts without accelerating. Some of the existing cut programs are already about accelerating them.
Cutting taxes for whom?
Well, for everybody, right across the board. One of the points we make is that the sort of people are striving to make ends meet, and the income levels differ up and down the country depending where you are. It's to be higher in sort of inner London than it would be perhaps in my constituency where I am now. But people struggling to make ends meet. If they run very, very quickly into the 40% band, it used to be the top rate band. Top rate band used to be for rich people only. Now it's for middle income, or even for middle income people. So that so-called striving class, people striving to make ends meet right across the board, we want to see cuts. We also want to see cuts elsewhere. Cuts in fuel costs, cuts in heating costs, even cuts in water costs. And there's quite a lot in this programme talk about using competition to deliver that.
And where did Boris Johnson go right?
Well,
I don't mean right in a political sense. Where did he? How did he get it right?
Well, Boris demonstrated. What was interesting about Boris is he demonstrated you could be a robust Tory. He took some very, you might think quite unpopular lines. Think of the stuff he did on bankers, which was the unpopular end of the spectrum. And yet, nevertheless, people saw, here's a man who's got authenticity. He clearly believes in what he's saying, and he is returned. Now, to be fair, he's unfettered. He hasn't got to make deals with a Lib Dem coalition all the time. So he's more free to say what he wants to say, much more free than the Prime Minister is. But nevertheless, he demonstrated clearly that a strong Tory message would deliver in London. And, London is not the Conservative heartland of the country.
Can you see him ever leading the party, Boris Johnson?
Well, I'm not going to be drawn on that.
I'll take that as a yes. Take that as a yes. Then
you can interpret that.
Is it on your wish list?
No.
Is it on your letter to Santa?
No. One of the things we're trying to avoid in all of this is fractionalism. I don't want this to be a right-left or an up-down type argument. This is about policy. This is about where we're going. That's why we did this as an alternative.
Okay. Gay marriage, has that been a waste of time?
Well, I think it's been a distraction. Certainly, again, on the doorsteps you get from people. I mean, some people in favour just say, "Look, why now when we've got all these other things to do?" I mean, gay marriage, and indeed, Lord's reform. Why are we doing these things, which appear to be interesting quotes to a London-centric political class, when actually things like jobs, growth, cost of living matter right across the country.
But it's one thing doesn't exclude the other. Governments do lots of things.
Well, governments have priorities. I mean, in a Queen's speech, typically you'll get 12, 15 bills, and they tend to indicate what the emphasis, what the focus, what the priority of the government is, and what the priority of this government should be, as indeed I think David Cameron is saying in Telegraph this morning. I haven't seen the Telegraph yet. Is they're going to focus more on the economy, focus more on the things that matter to ordinary people.
David Davis, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's 8:25.